Good morning. My name is Amy O'Neill, and I am a choreographer. I'm a hybrid dance artist. My specific hybridity has to do with contemporary dance, hip-hop dance, and house dance. And I've also trained in a lot of other forms, and I mix up the experiences of my life to create a language of my own that feels authentic to my experience. And we're essentially kind of all in the process of doing that, right? I'm an educator. I've been teaching dance since I was in high school, and I'm 42, so that's been a while. I still have a lot to learn, and I'm always in the process of learning more, always, no matter where you're at in life. But I'm feeling very passionate about something right now that I'm in the process of developing some more extensive content to bring to y'all. But I've been taking the temperature of my students at USC and my students at the Sweat Spot here in LA, and this is something that I've been in conversation with students all over the world. Actually, when I've taught and traveled and toured my work, there still is this sort of dominant idea, whether you are in the dance world or not, whether you're trying to be a professional dancer or not, or whether you're taking classes just for fun, but people still think that ballet is the foundation of all other dance forms. And I would love for you all to sit and reflect on this for a second, especially if you're a dancer. I mean, even if you're not. But who in your life taught you that? Where did you learn it from? Did you learn it from TV, the internet, your dance teachers back in the day? Is it just something that you made an assumption based on the type of dance that you see? Where did you learn that from? Because I'm here to tell you today that it's, number one, it's just historically inaccurate. It's historically inaccurate. Ballet, it's absolutely impossible for ballet to be the foundation of any dance form that comes from the African diaspora, for example. And a lot of our popular dance forms that we know of in the United States, that is also global at this point in time, come from the African diaspora. Those dance forms, for example, would be hip-hop, tap, jazz, and a lot of people think that jazz is just the internally rotated version of ballet. If you're a dancer, you know what I mean. But not true. The jazz that we see now is a hybridized version of vernacular jazz steps from the early 1920s and even before that, mixed with ballet. But ballet didn't start that stuff. Ballet did not start it. Vernacular jazz would be the foundation of hip-hop, but definitely not ballet. And tap is a hybridization of the juba and Irish stepping from Ireland. And it's very uniquely American because of the conversations that those folks were having together. But ballet has nothing to do with any of that. So, and let's talk about the contemporary, for example. Ballet is not necessarily the foundation of contemporary either. There's contemporary ballet, and in terms of contemporary ballet, yeah, ballet would be the foundation of that because it's just simply put, it's a contemporization of ballet, and sort of messing around with the rules of ballet. But contemporary dance as a whole is extremely wide and varied, and there's a lot of different approaches to it. It's not just the style that you see on So You Think You Can Dance. It's not just about getting your leg up in the air. It's not just about heteronormative love triangle dances. It's not about rhythmic gymnastics, which is what we see a lot of today, and it's not just about Gaga either. So there's a lot of different ways to interpret that, and depending on the choreographer's background and his choreographic vision, ballet may or may not be the foundation of that. So really, ballet is the foundation of ballet. It's not the foundation of anything else. And I've also heard people say that if you take ballet, it's going to help with every other dance form that you study. Also, not necessarily true. That is a completely personal journey that might be helpful for somebody, but I guarantee you taking ballet is not necessarily going to help. It's not going to help your hip hop. Taking a lot of hip hop and ciphering and being in the community and getting your freestyle techniques down, and also knowing your foundations of whatever form you are participating in within hip hop culture, because there are multiple forms in that culture: popping, locking, house, whacking, breaking. And each one of those forms have their own foundational ideas. Ballet has nothing to do with any of that shit either. So I'm lovingly letting you guys know that we need to stop saying this. We need to stop perpetuating this idea. And there's multiple reasons why we need to stop perpetuating this idea. Number one, like I said, it's historically inaccurate. Number two, it places Eurocentric expression and identity on a pedestal. And then that makes it difficult for anybody who is not that to participate potentially. Talk to any black ballerina and listen to their story, for example. And number three, it places unnecessary body restrictions for folks too. I've been teaching I taught beginning modern dance to adults for several years in Seattle when I used to live there, and I can't tell you how many students I had who came to that class like in their 40s, and they were like, I was traumatized by ballet as a little kid because I was told that I was fat, that I would never be a dancer, I didn't have the right body. And it's like hearing a ballet teacher say you will never be a dancer because of your body is so messed up. Maybe you won't dance ballet, and that's just the reality. Ballet has a very specific aesthetic that it needs. But don't say you'll never be a dancer, because there's a million other ways to be a dancer. There's tons of other forms you can study and other ways that you can be embodied and express your natural given birthright. I get really passionate about this. And I'm going to be really generous and say it's not their fault. That's what they were told. If you are a person who says ballet is the foundation of all dance, it's not your fault. That's what you've been taught. But if you're watching this right now, you get to make a choice. You can research what I'm saying. You can ask around and learn from other people, and you can shift your perspective. You can open up your lens. And it's not just white people who say this either. I've known many people of color who say that ballet is the foundation of all dance. So we need to really ask why. Why would you think that? Why? Can you really look at hip hop and say that? This doesn't make any sense. So stop doing it. I had this conversation with my students at the Sweat Spot the other night, and so literally over half the class had heard this idea. And after having this discussion, a woman came up to me and she was like, you know what? You actually inspired me to take ballet just for my own pleasure, because I never thought that I was, and this is a Latinx woman, and she said, I never thought that I would be welcome in that space, or that I should, because I didn't do it young enough, and I've always been taught that I'll never be a professional dancer if I don't have ballet training. And she's like, but I really love it, and I've always wanted to do it, and I'm gonna go take a ballet class just for my own pleasure and fun. And I was like, yes. And here's why. Ballet is just another dance form. It is just another dance form, just like all of the others. And we need to stop placing it on a pedestal as the default, or as ballet is real art, everything else is not. This is an old school paradigm that needs to shift. And here's the real truth of it, y'all. I'm going to drop this on you, and some of you, it might make you really uncomfortable to hear it. But this idea perpetuates cultural hierarchies within our dance community, and those hierarchies reflect the systems of oppression in our world. So I want you to really sit with that, really think about it. if we were to say that white supremacy exists in the dance world, everybody likes to be like, oh, in the dance world, we all just come together and we dance. It's a universal language, and this is how we connect. And yes, that is true. It's absolutely true. And dance does that better, I think, than any other art form. But there's still a lot that we need to address. There's still a lot of privilege and a lot of inequities in the dance world. And this idea that ballet is the foundation of all dance forms is honestly kind of a big culprit of that. And I'm not saying that that's the only thing and it's not the only problem, but it's a pretty big one. So I want to inspire all y'all to think a little bit more before we speak, ask questions, always question who you learn from, always question the education that you're getting, because people teach from the place that they are currently at that moment, right? I used to say some things as a teacher that were totally not accurate. I've been teaching for 20 years. I did not always know what I know now. And so you as a student and me as a student also, I have to continually be educating and updating my systems. So I hope this inspires you today. I love you. I gotta go to work.